The best-looking sedan in Europe sells fewer units than the Toyota Yaris Cross, a design so beautiful that Italians weep when they see it. Outsold 10-1 by a BMW that looks like an angry kitchen appliance. Meanwhile, a Japanese company built possibly the prettiest electric car ever made, and Europeans said, "No thanks, give us another grey SUV." Something has gone deeply wrong with car buying in Europe. Today, I'm showing you 7 genuinely beautiful cars that almost nobody buys, while ugly crossovers dominate every showroom. This isn't just sad, it's criminal. Here's the uncomfortable truth the car industry won't admit. European buyers claim they want beautiful cars. They post about design on social media. They share renders of gorgeous concepts. Then they walk into dealerships and buy the same bloated, high-riding, anonymous crossovers as everyone else. The sales data is devastating. SUVs and crossovers now account for over 50% of European new car sales. Sedans, coupes, and hatchbacks, the body styles that allow actual design elegance, are being killed off because nobody buys them. Every beautiful car on this list is outsold by something uglier, taller, and more forgettable. Manufacturers aren't stupid, they see what sells, so they're deleting the beautiful cars and building more crossovers. The models that I'm about to show you represent a dying breed, cars where designers were still allowed to prioritize aesthetics over practicality that buyers claim they need but rarely use. Some of these have already been discontinued, others will be gone within 3 years. If you care about automotive design, if you believe cars should be more than tall grey boxes, this is your last chance to vote with your wallet. If you think cars should be allowed to look beautiful, subscribe to this channel, because every video fighting against the beige SUV future needs your support. We're starting with possibly the most underrated design in the entire European market. The Mazda 3 is genuinely stunning, and it sells about a quarter of what the Volkswagen Golf manages despite being, by any objective measure, far more beautiful. Mazda's Kodo design language reaches its peak in the current 3. The side profile is completely uninterrupted. No fake vents, no unnecessary character lines, no desperate attempts to look aggressive. Just one flowing surface that catches light like a sculpture. The rear three-quarter view, where most modern cars fall apart aesthetically, is genuinely dramatic. The front end avoids the gaping grille disease infecting every German manufacturer. Where BMW needs a refrigerator-sized kidney to make a statement, Mazda achieves presence through restraint and proportion. The headlights flow into the body rather than sitting on it like afterthoughts. At €28,000 for a well-equipped model, the Mazda 3 costs less than a comparable Golf while offering dramatically better aesthetics. The interior continues the theme. Clean, elegant, free from the touchscreen festooned chaos of German rivals. Real materials where your hands actually touch. Buttons that click. Design that will age gracefully rather than looking dated in 3 years. So why does nobody buy it? 2 reasons. First, badge snobbery. European buyers still think Mazda is a budget brand, despite their quality matching or exceeding German competitors. Second, the Mazda 3 sits like a proper car, and buyers have convinced themselves they need crossover ride height for their twice-yearly trips to IKEA. The result? Beautiful design punished by market ignorance. The Golf outsells the Mazda 3 roughly 4-1 across Europe, despite looking like a design committee's compromise. That's the market telling manufacturers exactly what it wants. Boring. The Peugeot 508 might be the most beautiful car currently on sale that you've completely forgotten exists. The fastback sedan has proportions that rival cars costing 3 times as much, and Peugeot can barely give them away. Look at it properly. The long bonnet flowing into a steeply raked windscreen, the roofline that curves elegantly into an integrated rear spoiler, the claw mark LED taillights that actually look sophisticated rather than gimmicky. Peugeot's designers created something genuinely special here, and the market responded with total indifference. In 2024, Peugeot sold approximately 25,000 508s across all of Europe. The BMW 3 Series, which now looks like it's permanently angry about something, sold over 75,000. The Mercedes C-Class, increasingly bland with every generation, managed similar numbers. Both German options cost significantly more while offering objectively worse design. The 508's interior deserves particular praise. The i-cockpit layout, with its small steering wheel and high-mounted instruments, creates a genuinely different driving environment. The toggle switches for drive modes adds tactical satisfaction. Piano key buttons look and feel premium. Yes, there's too much gloss black that scratches easily. Peugeot isn't perfect, but the overall ambition exceeds anything from Germany at this price. At €38,000 well equipped, the 508 undercuts German rivals by €10,000 or more while delivering superior aesthetics. The fastback body style offers genuine practicality too. The sloping roof doesn't murder rear headroom the way it does in some competitors. Here's the tragedy. Peugeot is reportedly considering killing the 508 because sedans don't sell. Part of the problem is regulatory. The EU's General Safety Regulation forced manufacturers to add expensive electronic systems, black boxes, lane keep assist, speed limiters to every new car. For low-volume models like the 508, updating the electronics often costs more than the sales justify. They'll replace it with another crossover, something taller, fatter, and more forgettable. The market will reward that decision with sales figures, and another beautiful car will die. Citroen used to be the brand that did things differently. Hydropneumatic suspension, rotating drum instruments, cars that look like nothing else on the road. The C5X represents their attempt to recapture that spirit, and Europe has responded with a collective shrug. The C5X is hard to categorize, which is precisely why it's interesting. Part sedan, part estate, part crossover. It occupies a space that no other manufacturer dares to enter. The roofline flows rearward with genuine elegance. The front end features Citroen's split-level lighting signature without looking overwrought. From certain angles, it resembles a concept car that accidentally reached production. This is what happens when designers are allowed to be French, to prioritize comfort and character over Germanic efficiency obsession. The C5X has air suspension available that rivals far more expensive machinery. The seats are genuinely comfortable rather than aggressively bolstered. It's a car that invites relaxation rather than demanding attention. At €35,000, the C5X offers space approaching the E-Class at C-Class money, wrapped in design that actually tries to be distinctive. And nobody cares. European sales barely register compared to the predictable crossover options. The market wants another Peugeot 3008 clone, not French creativity. The C5X won't be discontinued immediately. It's too new. But watch how quickly Stellantis pivots away from this experiment if sales don't improve. Boldness is being punished, conformity is being rewarded, and Citroen, the brand that once built cars for people who rejected conformity, may never try something this interesting again. This one hurts the most because it's already dead. The Honda E was discontinued in 2024 after just 4 years on sale. It was possibly the most beautiful electric car ever made, and European buyers killed it with indifference. Let's be clear about what Honda achieved. They built a small electric car with retro-futuristic design that referenced the original 1972 Civic without being a lazy nostalgia exercise. The proportions were perfect, short overhangs, wheels pushed to the corners, a friendly face that actually had character. The circular LED headlights gave it personality that no German EV has managed. The interior was equally special, a dashboard-spanning screen setup that somehow felt cohesive rather than excessive. Real materials, thoughtful details, a sense that humans designed it for humans, not that engineers optimized it for a specification sheet. And the market said no. Honda sold approximately 11,000 units across its entire European lifespan. Tesla shifts more Model Ys in a single quarter. The reasons given for rejection were all practical. Limited range of around 200 kilometers, small size, premium pricing at €35,000. All valid concerns, all prioritized over the fact that Honda created something genuinely special. Here's what that rejection teaches manufacturers. Don't try. Don't build beautiful small EVs. Build anonymous crossovers with maximum range numbers. Optimize for spreadsheets, not souls. The Honda E failed because it prioritized design and character over raw specification, and the market punished that decision ruthlessly. Honda has already confirmed no successor. The lesson learned is exactly the wrong one. Beautiful, characterful design doesn't sell. Expect every future Honda EV to look like an appliance. The Alfa Romeo Giulia might be the most beautiful sedan money can buy, and almost nobody is buying it. While the BMW 3 Series sells in enormous numbers despite its controversial styling, the Giulia languishes in showrooms looking gorgeous and gathering dust. Start with those proportions. The long bonnet required for the rear-wheel drive layout creates a silhouette that front-wheel drive rivals simply cannot match. The triangular grille, Alfa's signature since the 1960s, actually integrates with the design rather than dominating it. The flanks are sculpted rather than decorated with fake vents. From every angle, this is a car that rewards extended viewing. The interior continues Italian design philosophy, dramatic where Germans are conservative, styled where Japanese are functional. Yes, there are material quality complaints. Alfa still cuts corners where they shouldn't, but the overall aesthetic ambition exceeds anything from Munich or Stuttgart at similar money. Now for the painful truth. I've covered Alfa reliability issues in previous videos, and those concerns are real. The Giulia has had more than its share of electronic gremlins and mechanical problems. Workshop bills can be steep. Depreciation is brutal. For many buyers, those practical concerns outweigh the emotional appeal of beautiful design. But here's what frustrates me. The 3 Series has become genuinely ugly in recent generations. That enormous grille, those aggressive lines, and buyers reward it with sales while punishing the beautiful Giulia. It suggests European buyers claim to care about design, but actually prioritize badge prestige and perceived reliability over aesthetics. At €45,000, the Giulia costs similar money to its German rivals. You could buy something that looks like automotive art, or something that looks like it's constantly angry. Europe overwhelmingly chooses angry. That tells you everything about the state of automotive taste. The Ioniq 6 proves that electric cars don't have to look like bloated crossovers, and European buyers apparently don't care. This aerodynamic masterpiece, styled like a 1930s streamliner brought into the modern age, sells a fraction of what the boxy Ioniq 5 manages. Hyundai's designers created something genuinely brave here. The teardrop profile isn't just aesthetically striking, it delivers a drag coefficient of 0.21, among the lowest of any production car. Those pixel pattern lights reference retrofuturism without becoming a gimmick. The rear end curves inward like a boat tail, elegant where most EVs are abrupt. The proportions recall a time when cars were designed to slip through the air rather than dominate parking spaces, long and low and smooth. Everything the modern SUV isn't. In a lineup of current EVs, the Ioniq 6 looks like it arrived from a different, more sophisticated timeline. At €47,000, it costs similar money to a Tesla Model 3 while offering dramatically more distinctive styling. Range extends 500 kilometers, more than enough for any realistic journey. The interior offers genuine space despite the flowing roofline. Every practical objection has been answered. And still, the Ioniq 5 outsells it massively. European buyers, given the choice between a beautiful sedan and a boxy crossover on the same platform with similar specifications, choose the box every single time. The Ioniq 5 isn't ugly. It's actually quite distinctive, but it's the safe choice. It's the normal shape. It doesn't challenge expectations. Hyundai will notice. Future EVs will increasingly prioritize the Ioniq 5 formula over the Ioniq 6 approach. Tall, boxy, practical, forgettable. Aerodynamic elegance loses to crossover conformity. Again, our top spot goes to a car that tells you everything about where the market is heading. In late 2024, Audi killed the A4 name entirely. The traditional sedan? Gone. What remains is the A5, now only available as a sportsback or Avant. Audi had merged 2 model lines just to keep elegant proportions viable. That's how badly sedans are losing. The new A5 sportsback represents everything a premium car should be. 4 doors with coupe-like proportions, a roofline that flows rather than being chopped off for practicality, surfaces that catch light beautifully rather than being cluttered with fake vents and aggressive creases, classic elegance in an era of overwrought design. Compare it directly to the Q5. The SUV is taller, heavier, less aerodynamic, and objectively less attractive. It offers marginally more headroom that nobody actually needs and a higher seating position that makes drivers feel important without actually improving anything. The Q5 is what happens when marketing defeats design. And the Q5 outsells the A5 Sportsback by roughly 5 to 1. Audi's own dealerships push buyers towards the SUV because margins are better and inventory is higher. The beautiful option is being actively discouraged by the company that makes it. At €48,000, the A5 Sportsback costs less than a comparable Q5 while offering superior aesthetics and better driving dynamics. Lower center of gravity, more engaging handling, more efficient aerodynamics. Every objective measure favors the Sportsback except one. It doesn't sit high enough to make drivers feel like they're commanding the road. This is the clearest possible illustration of the European car market sickness. Audi literally had to kill a model name and consolidate just to justify building anything that isn't an SUV. Even then, the Q5 crushes it in sales. Beauty dies by consumer choice. 7 beautiful cars, 7 commercial disappointments, 7 lessons the manufacturers are learning exactly wrong. The pattern is undeniable. European buyers claim to want interesting design, then purchase forgettable crossovers. They post about beautiful concepts on social media, then sign finance agreements for tall grey boxes. The gap between stated preference and actual behavior has never been wider. Every car on this list faces the same threat: discontinuation due to low sales. The Peugeot 5008's future is uncertain. The Honda E is already dead. The Alfa Giulia limps along on life support. Beautiful design is being punished by the market while anonymous crossovers generate record profits. I understand the practical arguments. SUVs offer easier entry and exit. They feel safer. They carry more stuff. But buyers never use that capability. Average European car occupancy is 1.4 people. Most journeys are under 20 kilometers. The practicality justifying these purchases is largely imaginary. A story buyers tell themselves to justify conformist choices. And here's what makes this truly criminal. Governments are actually taxing beauty out of existence. In France and Italy, the malus system penalizes cars based on CO2 emissions. The elegant petrol-powered sedan gets hammered with thousands in extra taxes, while the hybrid crossover escapes. Buyers aren't just choosing boring, they're being financially punished for choosing interesting. What's being lost isn't just beautiful sheet metal, it's the very idea that cars should stir emotions beyond the transaction. That design should elevate daily experience. The manufacturer should try to create something special rather than optimize for quarterly sales targets. The cars on this list prove beautiful design is still possible. Manufacturers haven't forgotten how, they've simply learned that beauty doesn't sell, at least not as well as tallness and grey paint and the illusion of rugged capability nobody will use. If you've watched this far, you probably care more about automotive design than most. You have power here. Every purchase decision is a vote. Buying a Mazda 3 instead of a Golf tells manufacturers something. Choosing an Ioniq 6 over an Ioniq 5 sends a message. These decisions aggregate into trends that determine what gets built next. The beautiful cars are still available. For now, that window is closing. What replaces them will be taller, fatter, and more forgettable. And we'll have collectively chosen that future. Which of these 7 would you actually buy? Or have I missed a beautiful car that nobody's buying? Tell me in the comments, because this community still believes cars should look like something worth looking at. If this video made you think differently about your next purchase, then share it with someone considering another grey crossover. And use the subscribe button below, because content celebrating design needs every advantage against the algorithm that favors controversy.